I don't mean to complain, but it's getting harder for me to record these videos. My voice is very weak. I've been living with some shock from the effect of Parkinson's on my body, and my hearing aids are not working. But I would like to have this recording on file with some of my friends and available to county people. I was put in a private dossier by Robert Fripp, a guitarist, and Donald Trump, a politician. The private dossier added up to what they construe. It was a Zionist screed called I Am the Walrus. What they construe as a moral calculus. And the way the moral calculus worked was that they depredated on me with the dating game, girls in serial rejections who had abortions. And they tallied that all up, came collecting like violent pimps, and said, "You are the walrus, and the AIDS virus is a bomb that they forged my name on." Okay. Now, given that that's all very firmly established and perfectly clear and easy to prove, you would think that all it would take is a team of a psychiatrist, a doctor, and a newspaper to put a stop to these incredible war criminals. But it's very difficult to do anything about it, even to establish a record that's dependable and an audience that is curious. It used to be that I was young enough that I could start my own circular zine. Now, they were on hand with supporters among my peers. I don't know why my peers would support them, but then again, I don't know why my peers would support what's being done in Gaza either. But my peers rallied around a double cross. You see, I was proving the intent to entrap. And so I was getting romantically involved with people who clearly did not have my best interest in mind. And they set it up with a Milanese bimbo, a blue girl of voluptuousness. When the Pearl Princess was hiding behind the curtain, that was Midori Goto, the violinist. And they set this up with John and Yoko. Okay, so when the sparks began to fly, people got to laugh. He got rejected by this Japanese violinist. Meanwhile, $1 trillion disappeared. We were defrauded as a country of $1 trillion. Okay, and the fundamentalists came with the help of the Beatles and the Jeffern Corporation and said, "We've established the voodoo economics of the program. We've established that young people on the make for sex romantically are irresponsible in their own worst punishment." And that's the moral calculus that was implanted in the situation for people to infer. Newspapers, psychiatrists, and doctors will not touch it. They won't go into it. They won't allow it to be recorded. I certainly can't start a newspaper because newspapers really cater to a certain scene of the dating lines of a generation. And the villainy of the press, which supposedly they were pointing the finger at me as a villainous press journalist. They want the press caught. The villainy of the journalism can be seen in the way that Gaza has been allowed to happen. So you have to believe that the moral calculus of this campaign who slaved me. They refused to allow me freedom from their sexual depredations. They actually made it so that I played into it because I needed the information about them. But they used me in a coma, being beaten, intoxicated. When I was 13 years old, they passed me around adult women who I didn't even know. And this is something that the County of Allegheny called the provincial norm. It was extremely cruel, sadistic, and duplicitous. Now, who were these people? Wesley Posvar was chancellor of the University of Pittsburgh. And he liked to say that he chaperoned Pitt safely through the 60s. But when I wrote to him about what had happened, he went berserk. And he was from Westmoreland County. And I wonder if he didn't know. He authored the Reagan Emergency Management Agency, Federal Emergency Management Agency Constitution, and promoted Miles Kirshner, who had me in D.C. for the Reagans. The Reagans waved to me the night before they claim he was shot. And Kirshner's brochure, Miles' brochure, reads, "There's no such thing as objective reality, only what the jury believes." He's the one who invited me to D.C. for this. So Reagan's Federal Emergency Management Agency was deceptive. They're playing a game of the butler did it. So who lives in Westmoreland County out there is Mel Gibson's father. Mel Gibson is a brutal, brutal man. And they put me through this private dossier where they were torturing me. They gave me Parkinson's, they gave me diabetes, and the wreckage of me is sort of paraded around slyly to tabulate as a moral calculus. That's the idea of the Taliban. It's a moral calculus. Osama means extra polite. Bin Laden has been laid. The princess came out from behind the curtain. And the tribute was the pecking order established by the black man who took the symbol of life in the East-West circuit that John and Yoko put into play for what was known as Two Virgins Pussy Bowl, which was clocked to the AIDS attack. This is the simple truth, ruthless truth of the matter. Ruth Ginsburg was in on this. When she was gone, they were ruthless. And they chopped people in half. It's a really disgusto operation from the elite. And to close, you have to tell me that you believe that this moral calculus is a shining example of chivalry and nobility while you committed genocide in Gaza. I don't understand how that can play out, but they are the same people. This was all the war on sin. Hamas was working with Donald Trump, Sisi of Egypt, the UAE, Saudi Arabia. They were angry about Arab Spring, and they came stomping on it. And you believe that this is a moral calculus because you want to play a little game called I Am the Walrus. It's incredibly scummy.